and welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Transportation System.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Double Dose of Disney podcast. As always, my name is Brittany and I am joined here this week by my boathouse loving husband, Tony. Well, I'm joined here every week by you, but you know what I mean, you're boathouse loving this week.
The boat?
Yep, the boat. This week on the podcast, we are talking all about what to do on arrival day at Walt Disney World. So picture this. You have been planning your magical vacation to Walt Disney World for several months. You are at the airport, you boarded the plane, you're on your way to the Sunshine State, you touch down, and you are on your way to Disney property. What are you going to do once you arrive? That's what we're talking about today. We have a few different scenarios that we've created and kind of options for what we think would be the best option or what we would prefer to do on your vacation. As always, hopefully we are providing some tips if you have been to Disney before that you've never thought of, maybe some options you've never thought of to do, or if it's your first trip and you're like, what the heck do I do once I get there? These are some ideas that you can put into action, you know?
Yeah, so these scenarios we're going from your Uber, from your bus, from your magical travel,
right.
Whatever's operating at that time. When you get there, what do you do? This is one of those too, I think, because you plan so far in advance, but a lot of times maybe arrival day, you don't really think about it necessarily. You kind of maybe just kind of wing it. Or sometimes, I guess we schedule a different flight or randomly something, schedule a different day, or, at a day
right.
or something, so it changes. So, but it's just interesting because you plan so much to go to Disney, but then there's sometimes where you want to just wing it. You got to wing it. You got to be prepared to wing it, or just go with the flow.
Yeah,
so maybe a little bit of both on this.
No, and that's true. And personally for us, we tend to do the same thing every single time we get to Disney World. Like that's like our first day. We do the exact same thing every time, no matter what time we get there. So maybe this is, if you're someone that's like that, maybe there's different options. I've personally thought of like other things that we could do when we get there. I'm like, oh, that would be really fun to do X, Y, Z. But I never put it in action because we always do the same thing and that's our tradition. But sometimes it's really fun to break it up.
You don't fix it.
No, you're right. But for example, on our trip that's coming up in a few weeks, it'll be our first trip with the girls. We're arriving, I think, at like 4. So I say we get to the resort at 6. And we're not going to push the girls like to go do Disney Springs that night, probably. You know what I mean? So like maybe we mix it up.
From now on, we have no clue what's going to happen.
Right. We're just being very go with the flow, yeah.
But that's what makes Disney fun too. Like we do the same thing. We're used to do the same thing for some time, but going forward, it's probably not going to be the same thing. But that's what makes these trips unique.
Yeah.
Every time is different. So you don't necessarily want to do the same thing every time. It's fun. You want to try to create the best trip that you had before if it was the best one.
Yeah.
Like we kind of do. But either way, you still want to make it different every time.
Yeah, and I guess, so like what we do every time that we've gotten to Disney, we go to Disney Springs and then we eat at the boathouse at night. And that's what we do. It's so much fun. Well, it can still be on your list.
It wasn't on my list
but
specifically.
It's so much fun. But at the same time, there's so many different options that I've thought of that we could do. Oh, we could hop into a park if we're staying in this area of the Disney property. Or you could do so many different things. And I've included some of them on here, so I'm not going to talk about them yet. But you ready to go first with yours?
So number one scenario, you arrive around 7. Kind of
in the morning.
Before any park opens. Crowd, who you come with doesn't really matter necessarily. What do you do?
So if I arrived at 7 in the morning, you can't check into your Disney resort until 3. But I would drop my bags at my Disney resort, and then I would probably go over to somewhere like Topolino's and do a character breakfast. Like that's a great way to kick off your trip. You get to meet
the best?
Mickey. Yes, in my opinion, Topolino's is the best. We're gonna eat there on our next trip. Because of the food, yes. Because of the food.
More elevated.
Yes, it's more elevated food. It is the exact same price or less expensive than somewhere like Chef Mickey's. Better atmosphere, more elevated food, and you still get to meet all of the same characters. So I would go to Topolino's to like eat breakfast and then probably hop on the Skyliner and go over to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. Probably Hollywood Studios because let's be real, it's my favorite park.
So you'd have had a reservation for that ahead of time.
Yes. We always have reservations on our arrival day.
I'm just asking.
We probably...
You can't wing that one, can you?
No. But, like, we probably still can make a reservation for arrival day at Disney, like, on this trip, you know?
That's one thing that's changed. Yeah, you can still get reservations.
Yeah.
People cancel them the day of. So you're not out of luck if you don't have
No.
something. You can still check the day of, hours before, and, you don't got to do the 6 months in advance every time.
Right. Yeah, like, I personally feel like it's 60 days now, but I personally feel like the 60-day thing is not necessarily as much of a quote-unquote must-do anymore as it used to be. For me, I used to do that. I still want to plan stuff for our trip, actually. I thought about that earlier. But just side note.
So it was, you drop bags,
Go to character breakfast at Topolino's, and then you hop on the Skyliner and go to Hollywood Studios. What about you?
We're so sophisticated in our answers of how specific you are. You drop your bags. Room most likely isn't ready yet. But for me, you go to Animal Kingdom.
Ooh.
I changed this one. You go to Animal Kingdom. Because Animal Kingdom is a laid back. It's a laid back. It's not like, crazy Magic Kingdom where you got 1,000 things you got to do. It's slower. It's, you're walking through exhibits. You do safari. And it closes early.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not wearing you down. It's a slower park.
Yeah.
And you can still get your rest on that day.
That's a good...
It's 8 o'clock or whatever time it closes. And
so are you eating in the park?
I didn't get that far.
Oh.
That's up to the user here. You can just go home and call it a night, or we go out and eat dinner afterwards. But
that's true.
If you're arriving on the day, you're probably not going to go eat dinner. But it's a slower park, and it closes early.
Yeah, that's true. I think one of the things on arrival day, like, I am always so excited to get to Disney, but we are always fighting, like, being tired, on our trip. So I think that's, like, something to maybe...
There's not a whole lot of rides. You're walking around, you're looking
like
at a bunch of
place.
stuff. You can do stuff if you want to, but it's not over the top stimulating.
That's true. Yeah, and there's really great... I personally love eating in Animal Kingdom. Like you said, we never eat dinner there, but I like eating there, like for lunch and stuff like that. And for breakfast, I hear they have great breakfast options.
Yeah, you're not eating dinner there.
No, I agree.
You get a Nomad Lounge on the way out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a good one.
For a drink or you eat there.
Yeah, they have light bites, or you could eat at Tiffin's next door. That's true.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. Ready for mine?
That number 2?
Yeah, number 2, sorry. The scenario number 2 is you are on your first trip and you arrive in the afternoon. So for this, I'm saying like anytime in the afternoon, not evening. What would you do?
It's a first trip after an arrival. Going back, same thing. You check in. It may be ready by then, depending what time. So check in. If it's ready, you just explore. You start exploring the resort. You explore the room. You relax. But then, it's a resort day.
Oh.
But you do golf. You do the mini golf.
Oh, that's good. I didn't even think about that.
It's a resort day mini golf. And with the group, you split up. You don't do any of this together.
Right.
Maybe the golf, but I wouldn't with the big groups, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
We've never done it, but we can imagine it.
Yeah.
So it can be together. If not, you meet up for dinner later at Disney Springs or at the resort.
That's fun. Yeah, depending on what resort you're at.
And all to get rest for rope drop in the morning.
Ooh, very, very good idea. I had honestly not even thought about including like mini golf on an arrival day, but that's a perfect option. Mine was similar to yours. So you get to your resort, depending on like what time it is, when you get there, you explore your resort and then you go to Disney Springs and like walk around Disney Springs.
Walk, eat, everything.
Walk and eat. Like explore Disney Springs, eat there, shop. You got to buy your first pair of mini ears there because you got to. It's just a must do.
First, third, or 10.
Yeah, first, third, 10, or 25th.
So run it down again.
So, what?
Your arrival your day on the large group first trip after your arrival.
So you explore your resort and then you go over to Disney Springs.
Okay, similar.
Yeah. I think that when you arrive on your first trip, there's so much to see and do at Disney. When we arrived on our first trip, we were kind of in a rush because the Super Bowl was that evening, and we got there, I think, at like 5. Super Bowl was, I guess, at like 7 or something. So we like dropped our bags. We didn't really get to explore the resort that night. We did over the next couple of days, But my biggest thing was like I wanted to explore Disney Springs, but again, like we're always tired when we get there, but we're so excited. But then that next day, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do the next
I feel
day.
like if you don't prioritize like your resort,
right?
It's just almost a big waste of money.
No, absolutely.
Because you're not going to see anything, you're not going to experience half it.
Yeah.
And in both of these scenarios, I like it because you build up. You've been building up for who knows how long for the trip.
Yeah.
To go to the parks, but then you still build up when you get there that whole day. For the morning, it's like Christmas morning.
Yeah, and like I remember like I am anticipating it in my mind. Like you get on the plane and the whole time you're just anticipating arriving at Disney. I'm usually always watching One Day at Disney on the plane that I download from Disney Plus. We'll see if that happens this time. And then we get there and we're like so excited. We're like, I can't wait. We're at Disney. And it's like no matter how many times you've been there, it's so much fun. But your first trip, you have no idea like what's in store for you. And to go to like explore your resort, like Tony said, so you don't waste money on just like experiencing the parks and everything like that. But then also going over to Disney Springs. I love Disney Springs on an arrival day because it's like the perfect like
it's getting your foot in the water.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. That's
you're
exactly
there,
what I was gonna say.
You're in Disney property.
Right.
I mean, you probably rode the bus over there.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are.
And they say, "Welcome aboard." Or no, they say,
"Whoa, where am I at to play that one at the end of those?"
They say, "We'll have you home shortly whenever you're leaving." I know that much.
So they leave. But yeah, I mean, you're planning these for so long.
True.
Yeah, you don't want it to be over though too. So you're like, the anticipation is still being in that first
right.
park. And once that first park, you're not gonna probably looks like you do it twice. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But most of the time you don't. It's just kind of like you don't want it to be over. But
yeah.
You're still looking forward to it.
Well, and going to Disney Springs that first day, like you get to go to World of Disney. You could possibly like buy some merchandise to wear on your trip. Like I said, ears, or you could get like a Loungefly or like shirts or something like that if you want to. Wear it on your first trip. You can explore Disney Springs. There's so much like Disney-fied entertainment, if that makes sense, at Disney Springs. So like you said, it really is a great like entry point into Disney, like dipping your foot into the pool before you just like totally dive in the next day.
And hopefully in our trip in a few weeks, like Disney Springs in your resort is like a buffer in between the parks. And
right.
Usually we only go to Disney Springs once.
Right.
And hopefully we can go maybe more than once. It's just some of those things, like usually we do like a half or full day. But I mean, you can ride the bus there anytime.
Yeah,
so it could be like an in between ish. Even it doesn't be a full day mall kind of experience.
Well,
it could just be like we're gonna eat lunch there and then we're gonna go back.
Thought,
eat dinner and we're done.
Yeah, my thought is when we arrive at Disney on our arrival day, depending on we bumped our trip up a night. Because we saved money. So we need to still book our...
Explain the saving money process.
Girl math / Disney math. Here we go. So we were supposed to arrive on a Thursday.
Somebody write this down as you're listening to this.
Yeah, we're supposed to arrive on a Thursday. We had everything planned out. Like we're going to be there for a week, right? Well, then I got on Southwest website. We always fly Southwest because they fly directly from San Antonio. We got on Southwest website and I was like, oh...
We as in... You did.
Me, I was like, oh, if we bump up our trip, we save $500. And Tony was like, huh. Like, he's like, how does that make sense? Because then we're going to be there and I'd early wait to pay for a hotel and then we had to pay for food and drinks. So then
You don't have to, but it's going to happen.
No, it's going to happen.
Unless you're packing Cheez-Its for everybody.
So,
money.
Well, okay, but here's my thing. My thing was, I was like, well, we're going to have the girls with us, so we probably won't go to Disney Springs that first night, so it'll just be like we started our next day. But we haven't booked our hotel yet, and so you can book a resort, you can book like All-Star Music for like $150. Or...
Which we've never even stayed there, too.
Right.
So I was like, we need something different. We always want to stay in every place.
Or you can book Saratoga Springs right across the water from... I haven't told you this. You can book Saratoga Springs right across the water from Disney Springs, of course, in a preferred room closer to Disney Springs for $200. So it's like...
Probably gonna do.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And as a side note, we would book that through like DVC rental, like a DVC rental store. I get questions about that all the time on TikTok. I think they're a great option because it's not always a fit to book through Disney directly. And if it's not, then like a DVC rental store or something like that's a great option. But we may do that. So then the next day we can just like start at Disney Springs and we could eat at the quick service at Saratoga that night. Or hear me out. If we stayed at Saratoga Springs, we could potentially go to Disney Springs that night. Just walk across the little bridge in Disney Springs, and
Or roll across for some.
well, with the stroller, yeah. Walk across, push the girls across in the stroller, and go to like Eat, which is the new Indian cuisine location, or Earl of Sandwich or something like that, and just grab quick service and then go back to our room. And then start the next day. See, this is how you build anticipation on a vacation, people.
And this is how your plans change daily.
But that's the fun of it.
Yep.
I will say, Disney used to be, like Tony said, you said a couple weeks ago, right? That Disney used to make you be so regimented, and they're like taking that away. And I fully believe that.
Well, the thing is, you want it. I mean, that's the whole 50% of the whole Disney experience is planning it before.
Yeah.
Because it goes so darn quick once you're there, and the money flies out quick, and it's done. You better take as many pictures as you can. Like, majority of it is the experience before getting there, and then it's, it goes so quick.
Yeah, and one thing that I usually do, this is kind of like off topic, one thing that I usually do is I create a list of places I want us to eat at. I've talked about that before in the Dining Plan podcast, to where we're not eating American food like twice in a row. I'm going to do that again, but I was thinking like, is the quick service dining plan worth it? Like I keep going back and forth with that in my head. So I was like, maybe I would price out like doing quick service places.
It's always worth it. Always.
But
if you're looking at just a normal person, it's probably not worth it, but you're gonna do it anyway.
So like the Disneyland, so looking through the Disney lens, so the quick service dining plan is $51 or $54 a person, but per day. But if you eat somewhere like Satuli Canteen and you get a bowl, which is like $17, and then you get a drink, which is $10, that's $27 for one meal. So if you eat another meal like that, are you going to eat another meal like that in a day? I don't know. So those are just things.
You go there, you're eating everything all the time.
Yeah, those are things that like,
yes, I
need to do, because honestly, like now that I plan vacations for people, sometimes I'm like, it's so much more fun to me, like right before we go, to be like, I get to plan our vacation,
Yeah. If we
okay.
Remember to.
True. Ready? Number 3.
Did we get everything there? Number 2. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
All done.
Number 3. Is yours. Right?
Is me.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Either way, number 3 is a solo trip. Regardless of when you show up, what do you do?
So for me, I said, because
we've never been, we never have been, never will be.
Yeah, we'll never go on a solo trip because we always go together. Gone. Yeah, but if you went on a solo trip to Walt Disney World, I would most likely.
You never know. You may go by yourself for something.
True.
Especially if you move there one day.
No, well, yeah, I guess if you move. Okay.
One day at Disney.
One day at Disney, when we moved to Disney, I was like, wait, hold up. Why would we go on a solo trip? Anyway, okay. So I said I would go to Magic Kingdom, and this is for not like when we're living in Florida, but like if you are on a solo trip vacation, go to Magic Kingdom and do a tour if you arrive early. So you could do like the Keys to the Kingdom tour.
Do you have a certain amount of people for that one?
No, that's a VIP tour. Keys to the Kingdom tour, you just join, like it's like a group tour that you join, you pay to join. If you arrive early, or I would just enjoy the evening in Magic Kingdom, and since you're by yourself,
romantic by yourself, huh?
I said I would enjoy the Magic Kingdom by myself.
Wine and cheese.
I'd probably just gather a whole bunch of content the whole time I was there. Drink some Joffreys, grab food at Casey's, and then watch the fireworks because you're by yourself, so it's not going to be as hard to get a good spot.
Would you really do Casey's?
No, I would not do Casey's.
What would you really get?
I would go to Columbia Harbor House and get the like grilled shrimp skewer, or I would go to my favorite quick service place in Magic Kingdom and go to Pinocchio's Village House, get a salad, and pay for chicken strips, gluten-free chicken strips separately, because the gluten-free chicken strips are the best ever.
Most likely because you're starving when you get them every time.
No, but they're really good.
They're different. They're not your typical out
chicken
of the bag.
strips. Yeah,
they may even be out of the bag. I don't know. but they don't taste. They taste a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because they have honey mustard, probably.
Yeah, and when you get them at Pinocchio's Village House, so you get the gluten-free chicken strips as a meal, but you can't get them. They have chicken strips with a Caesar salad, and you can't get those together because they're not like both gluten-free. So
they have pizza there. We've never.
I just get them separate.
If you ever got pizza there, let us know if it's any good.
No, yeah, the pizza, the flatbreads do look good. So, but I guess I would actually get Pinocchio's Village House. I was just thinking, like a hot dog and French fries on a solo trip to Disney. Like, that's what you do. But
and a Gaston cinnamon roll, which we still never have.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm the one that cares about having it. So
Next
trip. So this every time.
We have a list of new things we want to do this trip, and that's on them for Tony.
Do or try.
Yeah.
So mine's simple, and it's not specific.
What? What?
Solo trip, you go straight to the park. Doesn't matter which one. You never leave. When you're with big groups...
You just stay there?
If you can spend the night, do it.
What?
Because when you're with groups, there's so many... Your schedules, there's meetups, it's stressful. We gotta be here, we gotta go there. When you're by yourself, you just go.
True.
I mean, you got single rider, wherever you can get it, you do it all. There's no, can we get there? Can we all meet? Time frame? It's seats? There's nothing.
So you're planning on hiding out in the Magic Kingdom when it closes and trying to stay the night?
Doesn't even matter. Every park, every day, all day.
What?
Rope drop to just... Man, you got nothing to lose.
Huh.
What else would you do?
No, well, and that's kind of the thing. I was thinking about if you go on a solo trip. If you are going on a solo trip to Walt Disney World, I've heard that people say that they're amazing. We just started going together, and so I could never, go to Disney without Tony and it be...
You've got to visualize you're single again.
Right.
Not that you're single and mingling, but you're single.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about, okay, what do you want to do now?
True.
You're just going. That's it.
No, but I'm just saying, we wouldn't it would be sad to me to go without Tony.
You've got to envision you're single, nobody else matters.
Yeah,
yourself. That's it.
Once we're living there and I go into the parks to I don't know, do something or something like that. That's different. But I wouldn't go on a full vacation.
And you would probably be like a kid because you're not looking at who you're with. You're looking at everything else.
True. And
that's it.
Because if you want to stare at those windows on Main Street a little longer than everybody else in your group can, you can.
If you're crying, nobody cares because they're not with you.
I don't care if anybody sees me crying anyway, but that's beside the point.
Debatable.
Whatever.
There are definitely times where you look around.
When I was ugly crying in front of the castle, yes. But, that's a good idea because, like you said, it doesn't really matter. So, you're not going to necessarily want to go to Disney Springs. You may, but enjoy the parks if you're by yourself.
I mean, let's say you'll get so much more done.
Yeah.
So you do single rider as possible in any show. There's no can we fit 14 people?
Right.
You're going to get into everything as fast as possible. And
well, when you're watching the fireworks, you're one single person.
You're not going to sit down at any sit down. You're going to do quick service or there's no time wasted ever.
I've planned quite a few trips for people doing solo trips to Disney, and some of them like to eat at Beaches and Cream.
Or you're going to do a bar, sit down at the
That's
bar.
That's what I was saying. At Beaches and Cream,
so
they'll eat at the soda bar, soda fountain or something. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Number 4. You are on your honeymoon or anniversary at Walt Disney World. What are you going to do? Oh, yes, we do it every year.
So every February, that's where we're going in a couple weeks, folks, is we go to...
That's how we started going to Disney.
Walt Disney World.
Yep.
I said I will try it once. We've been there for the past
5 years. Yeah, it'll be our 6th anniversary, February 3rd.
Which used to be every time it'd be on Super Bowl Sunday, but now since they added an extra week, it's not. So that's an extra cool perk. Moving on. Probably have the same, kind of similar. You start slow. Make sure you get your buttons. With any other special occasion.
Yep.
Right from the time when you get at that, you don't have to get them in the parks. You can get them when you go to the front desk.
Right.
So make sure you got them on.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the park for that. Romantic dinner.
Where?
It's either or.
Oh.
Always Disney Springs, or it can be the resort.
Uh-huh.
You may or may not have to reservation. I guess that's up to whatever you could get.
Yeah.
Either or. Followed by an evening cap. Fireworks at the Poly.
Oh! Like an evening nightcap and watching fireworks?
Just sitting out like we did on the little beachfront. Watching Magic Kingdom fireworks.
Ooh, that's nice.
Which nobody kind of knows about.
No, nobody talks about that. You can
Take
just
a little boat over there and.
or you could watch the fireworks from inside the Polynesian at
So
the
maybe
Tambu Lounge.
Then maybe eat at the Poly and then walk out for the fireworks.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So you can even get a drink at Trader Sam's outside. You don't have to have the bus it for you.
No.
So you don't have to worry about getting Trader Sam's because you get outside, get a drink.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if you can see the fireworks from Trader Sam's from the Tiki Terrace.
Side note: always get the mug of your drink.
Yes, the mug is actually on. One of the mugs is actually on my desk right now. It's holding all of my pens.
That's probably the best mug you're ever gonna get because
Yeah.
I don't know if they change or not.
I don't think that they do. I think that they have like special edition ones sometimes, but those are always there.
And these are the ones you never see. Everyone's got Disney mugs, but Trader Sam mugs not really.
Mine's the Ahoa mug, I believe.
And I got the zombie, which was like,
gasoline,
jet fuel.
Yeah. So I said if you're on your honeymoon and anniversary, if you arrive early, go to brunch at Steakhouse 71, which I pulled up the menu for that because we have never talked about brunch at Steakhouse 71. Steakhouse 71 is located at Contemporary Resort, and it used to be California Grill. We ate breakfast there one time on our last day at California Grill. Tony was not feeling very well that day.
I knew that dairy and
he had a few food intolerances
really
and he didn't realize it. And we had been at Disney for 8 days, and he was eating whatever he wanted to, and he was very sick.
When in Rome, eat it all.
Yeah.
You feel bad, you just keep eating it.
Yeah, and he was not feeling good during it, but I had great food. Now they've redone
Still a great time.
Yeah, now they've redone California Grill and they've turned it into Steakhouse 71. So for lunch and dinner, it's lunch is more Southern food, dinner is steakhouse, but they also have breakfast food. And I was looking at the menu and Tony loves hash, and they have a Walt's prime rib. They have a Walt's prime rib hash. Or they have American breakfast, different omelets and stuff like that. And then they have a refillable mimosa there. And that's the only place on property you can get
a carafe?
Yeah, you can get, it says Los Dos Cava Brut, sparkling wine, and orange juice. It's $20 per person.
Steal. Oh.
So you can do refillable mimosas. If you're on your anniversary or honeymoon, why not start the day at Steakhouse 71 for breakfast? And then I said you could go to the Boathouse for brunch if it's on the weekend, because the Boathouse does a piano bar brunch on the weekends, and I think that would be really fun. But if you're arriving early in the day, go to Steakhouse 71 or the Boathouse and then explore your resort. If it's evening time, have an advanced dining reservation for Ohana, or to be able to watch the fireworks, or for California Grill to be able to watch the fireworks.
Food-wise,
what?
Which one's better?
California Grill, or we haven't eaten at California Grill yet. I personally, I love good food, but I'm not for what would you say? I love good food, but
indulging on massive quantities of greasy stuff.
No, California Grill's an upscale signature place. No, Ohana, yeah. So California Grill is a rooftop contemporary. It's a signature dining location. Ohana is a family-style Polynesian food restaurant at the Polynesian. It has windows that face out over the Seven Seas Lagoon, so you can see the fireworks from both locations. We've eaten at Ohana before, and it was really good. But Tony was referring to Ohana when he said greasy
Ohana's
food.
an old school buffet style. We love it. We love it.
It was good.
So you gotta be ready because it's a lot. And
your belly's gonna hurt after you leave.
It's kind of an old school traditional buffet.
They have
savory, got wings, noodles,
sticky ribs, noodles.
Yeah, so come hungry. It's not gonna be some little delicate little thing.
They're known for their famous bread pudding, their banana bread pudding, I believe. If you have a food allergy, they'll accommodate and change that up for you. I think we got some type of panna cotta or something like that. It was not good. But it wasn't bad. But I've heard that Ohana actually has a gluten-free bread pudding now. So
yeah, I mean, just all you gotta do, what you need to do, if you have any intolerance, just make sure you get pills before you go. Get your dairy enzymes, get everything.
No, if people have allergies, they can't do that.
Okay, not allergies, intolerances. Just eat everything. Make sure you got your supplements. Get your enzymes, whatever you need. Just make sure you eat the good stuff.
Don't listen to Tony. Listen to me.
Don't get the knockoff. Just get the bona fide what they're serving and what's the best they got.
Tony is famous for just eating whatever he wants to, even though he knows he has intolerances to dairy, to gluten, to almonds, and to crab.
Will recover.
And then he'll be like, I don't feel good. I'm like, because you ate XYZ. For me...
So going back to a solo trip. On a solo trip, do it all.
For me...
If you have a large family or somebody with you that's going to do that, don't do it.
For me, like, I have intolerances to things, but I won't eat it most of the time. I might have a little bit of it when we're on vacation because I'm like, you gotta live a little. But if you have allergies, yeah, you can't do that. But California Grill would be like, so between Ohana and California Grill is going to be the more upscale dining location if you want like a refined experience, I guess I'll say it that way. And then Ohana is going to be like a more like practical, like sit down, like table service location. So it really depends on what you want. We've never eaten it at California Grill yet. I've heard great things, but...
So overall, those are a couple. Brief.
Yeah.
Specific.
Yeah.
Non-specific.
Yeah.
There's just so many ways. There's so many variations. There's so much you can do.
Right.
I mean, those are just some of the ones we, off the top of our head, what would be like, I guess some of them we have done.
Yeah.
But some maybe we're doing in the future. And
now it makes me wonder what we're going to do on this trip. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I need to kind of work on planning out our trip more because it's always really fun. And since we're arriving a night early, we'll have like extra time to kind of to add time on. And so it's like, okay, if we're staying at Saratoga Springs, do we want to walk across and go over to Disney Springs and just grab like quick service food while the girls like, you know, like are in the stroller? Or are we going to eat at like the Artist Palette at Saratoga Springs? Or there's the Turf Club, which is located off the golf course at Disney Springs. So
all this to say,
Saratoga
like,
Springs eat at.
Plan as much as you want. Do all the scheduling.
But what's our philosophy?
The spreadsheets and all that. Really, just to know your options.
He's talking to me.
Really, just to know your options.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's not fun when you get there and you're trying to stick to something that's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, be flexible. If it's not going to work, who cares? You know, just know what your option is for if this screws up, we can just go do this. Or we can just do nothing and it's fine.
And that's always my biggest thing is I make all the plans ahead of time. So that's why I'm excited to do that. And then once I have everything planned out, once we get there, I'm like, you know what? If it doesn't work, we don't do it. And we have learned very early on with the girls, like not having low expectations, but like just being go with the flow is the best option.
Well, it's being easier too because you don't have reservations for like park, you know, for each park now. Like it's being more. It's easier.
Annual passes have to have reservations for parks, but
then, like,
it's not hard to get a reservation
for dining. Like you can drop them. You know, you can drop them 2 hours before. Like so, things are just knowing your options. Like if something doesn't happen, okay, let's slide over here and do this.
Yeah.
You know, this is close to us, so we can just go do this, or you know, like I said. Everyone said you'll never do it all.
Right.
You'll never do a second, third, fourth, and then it's going to change. Someone's going to add it that you haven't tried. Like so, either way.
But one of the things that I've been living by this year is that, and it's like the first week of the year. But anyway, is that like we are given one shot at life, right? And it's actually something I've been living by for the last few years. We're given one shot at life.
YOLO.
And I always say, live the life of the YOLO because you have one shot. Like, buy the ticket, take the ride, do what you want to do, and don't have any regrets about it. With our girls, we're taking our two twin girls to Disney for the first time at 3 months old, and our family thinks we're crazy. But at the same time, like, God has blessed us with these girls, and we don't want to waste a second of it looking and then look back later and be like, I wish I would have done that with them sooner.
What's a perfect age, the perfect resort, it doesn't exist.
No.
You know, and I mean, we're not going to save up to hope we can spend it one day that we're all going to be
right.
here. And it's a perfect scenario. The white picket fence and
that's honestly, that's the way that we've started to live our lives. Like, maybe this is just, I don't know, it's like, maybe this is like a deep cut or something like that. But I don't ever want to look back one day and be like, I wish that we would have done this in life. And we didn't.
I'm not saying give Disney all of your money. I mean,
even though we do.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get it if you're involved anyway. I mean, this is like lucrative cult thing.
It's not a cult.
They're not lucrative cult. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna get your money either way. So just do whatever you want to do.
No, yeah,
Don't
yeah.
Don't let anybody else tell you what a perfect trip.
Like,
is
I'm not saying to
like.
take out a loan,
They've
but
never had a perfect trip, and they've never even been. But like staying in the since being or right in the middle of COVID, like we stayed in the Disney bubble without even being there. Like, so if you know what it means to like live in that place without even being there.
Yeah.
So to be there, no matter who's with you or what the scenario is, it's perfect either way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And so I'm so excited for this trip to like put all of those things into practice and to like Tony has said, make plans for your vacation, make plans for your arrival day. But if something doesn't happen, if something doesn't go to plan, make different plans, and that's totally okay. If your flight gets in late, if you decide that you want to just stay at the resort, like all of those things are totally fine. And my biggest thing is on arrival day, don't go too hard, because we have been those people that were like went to eat at Boathouse and then we went to Raglan Road after and had drinks, and then I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a park day and it's Hollywood Studios and we've got to get there early because I never waste time at Hollywood Studios, and we were exhausted. So you got to pace yourself too.
Yeah, just stay up a little too late.
Yeah.
Leave it there.
Yeah. So, all right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Double Dose of Disney podcast. As always, go ahead and give us a follow on TikTok and Instagram at the Double Dose of Disney fam. We are working on creating a bunch of content this year because that's one of our goals for the year, is to grow those platforms, especially with heading to Disney again. It's kind of been at a stalemate with creating content there just because we couldn't go to Disney and get new video of us in the parks. We are so excited to create content leading up to our trip, of our trip and beyond. So please go ahead and give us a follow on those platforms and leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform. We are off to make ratatouille pizzas to watch Ratatouille tonight for dinner. So we will see you next week.